a few days ago, I started this series called Top 3 at 3. I'm still working on the name here. So Top 3 at 3. And this is a way for me to connect with my fellow content creators, people in the board game industry, and friends. We just hang out, chat. I want to talk to them about their journey in board gaming and how they became content creators. And also, we're sharing a top 3 list. So it's going to be different categories every time. And today we've got a really, really good one. I'm excited to see what we're talking about here today. It's deck building. And we're hanging out with Yurko of What's Eric Playing. He's got a website. He's got on all the socials. He's an amazing writer, photographer, and I mean, prolific. I mean, if you know anything about him, you see him. I see like posts all the time. They just fly over my head like, psh, Eric's doing this, Eric's playing this. And if you see them all, I mean, they're just amazing, amazing reviews and content. So without further ado, I'd like to bring on Eric. Let's see if I can do this right. Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Hi, Eric.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for hanging out, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the last time we saw each other was back in January.
Yeah.
At Gamehouse Cafe before the world fell apart, basically.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you might be one of the last 10 people I gamed with.
Oh, that's crazy. Wow, that's insane. Yeah, because it was like end of January.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember February rolled around, then all of a sudden it was like March, and that was pretty much it.
Yep, I didn't really play that much in February. I was like, slow month, but I'll pick it back up in March, and then
if only we knew, right?
Yeah, I was like, I haven't left my house since then, so that's been fun.
Oh my gosh, yeah, insane times. But Eric, let's just talk about how did you get into gaming? What was your gateway into this whole thing that we do?
So I've told this story before to a few friends, and I always feel bad, but because it basically is me calling my dad a liar. We have an ongoing debate in the family because I'm like, well, Dad, we've been playing board games for forever, and he's like, no, we haven't. I'm like, we owned Pit, Monopoly, Life, Othello, Clue, and a game that I still really enjoy called Careers.
Oh wow, I remember that game, but I never played it.
Oh no, it's great. It's a roll and move with you actually define. There's 3 categories. There's money, fame, and happiness, and you define at the start of the game how much of each you want to keep. If you get your total, you win. That's just how the game goes. So you then roll and move, and you do interesting things where you can take on jobs for a little bit. You can go there's an outer perimeter that you roll and move around, and there's on certain spaces you can go inside that perimeter of the board on new tracks. Very fun.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm. Was that like an 80s game or so, or is it?
Yeah. They came out with an aggressively misogynistic one a while back. Yeah, I don't want to get into it other than just to mention it was released in 1992.
Okay.
And when you look at it, you're like, oh, well, for the 90s?
Yeah.
Very bad. Yeah.
That's funny.
Not even there.
I want to say hi to our friends in chat. Thank you for joining us. I see Ross from the Op, Amanda Panda, and my buddy John Gonzalez of Book of Nerds. Thank you for joining us, friends. We're here with Eric Yurko, and we are talking about how he got into board games. We just talked about careers. And so what are some of the other games that your family... So you're calling your dad a liar, basically, right?
Yeah, basically. We used to play Pit around the table, and then we would go to my grandmother's place. We'd play euchre. She'd always keep score. She'd always win. I'm making no further comment about it beyond just observing a series of facts.
Nice.
Those are just the facts as I am aware of them.
Right. So euchre. So I'm assuming if you grew up in the eastern part of the U.S. then? Mm-hmm. Okay, because euchre was definitely all my East Coast friends played euchre. We didn't play that in the West Coast here. Yeah,
it made me really excited when I got back into trick taking as a genre because I was like, oh, this is all the things I liked about euchre. But
nice.
I mean, I agree with the comment. She was also to her credit, she was also extremely good at euchre.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Oh man, did not mess around. But yeah, no, that was a game that I really enjoyed. But maybe around sophomore year of college, some of my friends got into Bang Catan, and so we were just playing that back and forth forever. Mm-hmm. Resistance Avalon popped up for a while, and then around my senior year, a friend of mine got me Pandemic for my birthday.
Nice.
And that's kind of where it started to spiral out of control. So Pandemic led to okay, I wonder if there's a board game subreddit. Found the board game subreddit. It was hey, I own a board game. Should I buy more board games? And they're you should buy the next 1,000 board games. And
nice.
Questionable decisions were made, but now here we are.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's funny. That's basically my intro to the modern board games as well, was getting Pandemic. It was a birthday present to myself after I just sort of stumbled down that rabbit hole on YouTube, like board games, and I found tabletop like a lot of us did and watched that. Next thing I know, Pandemic, I was like, okay, yeah, this is something totally different than what I've ever played.
That's actually what prompted me to get Betrayal at House on the Hill. Was that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was watching a tabletop episode about it, and I was like, I could probably buy this.
Yeah, yeah. And how was your experience with that game as the first time, or as new to modern board games?
I mean, I always tell people the Betrayal at House on the Hill is an experience that everyone needs to be like invested in.
Yeah.
It's like from just a purely experience perspective, right? Like if you're going in, you're like, all right, everyone, it's Betrayal at House on the Hill. I've got a strategy. I'm going to execute that strategy. That's not going to happen. I've never once seen that happen.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's more that you're just playing a very light role-playing experience, and like something weird's going to happen. Maybe it's the parachutes one, which is my favorite.
Yes.
And it's as long as everyone's invested. But I think that game also created for me probably one of the most important rules in my like board gaming experience, which is everyone needs to be committed to playing the game before you start. Like if you're pulling out a game, you're like, hey, does everyone want to play this? If anyone is like, we just don't do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we've had disasters where it's like people are getting a little tired and you're like, let's break out a quick game, Betrayal at House on the Hill, famous last words. And you're like, yeah, I could probably take an hour, and like 2 hours in, you're not done with the haunt yet, and and someone's getting extremely irritated, justifiably.
So
I'm very excited for the Scooby-Doo retheme. I think it's going to be great.
I was just going to ask if you've seen anything. That one looks amazing. Like that is such like the perfect match of theme and that game. I want to shout out to a bunch of our friends here in chat. Yeah, this is great. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We're just talking about Eric's journey into board gaming. And then we're going to talk about our top 3 deck builders. So please hang around with us. I feel like
comment on my hair length. Like, it's getting there.
I love it. Oh, yeah, Chris from Meeple Overboard. He thinks, where is that? Where that comment right there?
Oh yeah,
where's else? Yeah,
you're getting it too.
From here, not from here, obviously.
I code mine, so it's extremely long, but it's thankfully kept mostly down.
Are you cutting your own hair during these times? You don't have to answer that question.
I'm not emotionally equipped to do that, and I feel like if I do that, I'm going to cause myself a tragedy. So I'm just kind of like right now, I'm just like keeping it down. Like I've, it really invested in like conditioner. I've got like a lustrous shine. It's like all coconut scented. Like it's great.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I'm worth it.
Yes, you are. Yes. People, remember that. Treat yourself right, I love it. So from Betrayal and everything, did you how does that, as you get into board games, and how do you go from playing that to becoming a content creator?
So I had a lot of free time after college, right? Like when you're in college, you're really invested. You're like, oh man, college and school, and then etc. I did grad school as well, which was, I have a lot of thoughts of grad school. Not all of which are outside the scope of this conversation. But basically, at a certain point, I was talking to one of my friends, and she was working on let me make sure I correctly cite this. She was making a blog in which she cooked every meal that you could cook in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh, really?
Very specific.
Hi, wow. Gates. Yeah.
Very specific. And I loved it. Like, it's great. It's great stuff. Yeah. And she was like, why don't you try writing? And I'm like, well, I'm not any good at writing. And she's like, you know how you get better at writing? And I'm like, she's also a lawyer, so like I shouldn't have gotten into a debate with her in the first place.
Right.
I was like the only winning move there was not to play. So I tried it. I wrote maybe like 10 or 15 posts.
Okay.
Before I started actually like posting my stuff, and then I rapidly learned as I was writing. I was like, oh, I should just if I need photos for some reference point, I can just Google it and pop it. And then as I was like Googling something, I'm like, this can't be that can't be the right way to do photography. So I was like brushing up on a little bit of copyright, and I'm like, this is probably not great. I should just take my own. So I started taking my own. Mm-hmm. Many of them are bad. You should see some of the early stuff where I just didn't bother with things like lighting or backgrounds or
right.
shot angles. It's like I have like a Catan box and it's like this in the shot. And I'm like, that's artsy.
Nice.
Terrible. But yeah, so from there, woke up one morning, maybe December-ish of a few years back. Had like 50 views on my blog when I was on the whole site. And I was like, oh man, 50 views in a day? What a treat.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got to my office, it was up to 5,000. And I was like, am I being DDoSed? Has something happened? So Will Wheaton actually found my blog and tweeted out to his like 3 million Twitter followers, something like that. So then,
wow.
Yeah, popped on
amazing.
Twitter. And now here I am, still angry on Twitter.
Were you into photography before you started writing? Okay.
Yeah, so I'd taken a digital photography class, which again, hilarious story outside the scope of this, but I'll tell you at a different point. But basically, I had my own camera for that, and so I've been using the same DSLR since then. It's like a Canon Rebel T3i. It's an old camera, but it shoots good, so
yeah,
doesn't need to be more than that.
Right on. And then so I think I've talked to you about this before, but I mean, I have told you, I really admire just the amount of work you do. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, you're prolific, man. And it's like, it's inspiring to me because, people can do reviews, they can take photos and stuff as, they can put a ton of stuff out, but it's all crap. And your stuff is like outstanding, man. Like,
to be fair, the beginning part of it was crap.
Okay, but that's cool because I feel like again you want to get good at something. What is it? You take the time and do the work, put in the work, and I don't know, 10,000 hours later or whatever it's supposed to be. Right? You're a master.
Twitched uncomfortably.
Yeah. So I mean, what? It's a silly question to ask, but how do you get that motivation? To put out 5 reviews in a week or whatever, where does that come from?
I will say that motivation has completely been annihilated by both recent circumstances and the pandemic. So I'm currently at like 1-ish a week, and I had like an emergency, like 12 reviews or so that were behind to like break glass in case of emergency. And I'm like, this seems like it counts. So I've been going through the remainder of that buffer and writing maybe 1-ish a week.
Okay.
Paul correctly understands my secret here.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
the clones. Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard to stay motivated right now. But I think that for me, a lot of what I'm doing is I'm just getting the games played. So back when I had more like game nights or any game nights, non-zero game nights, I would end up playing a lot of games in a week because I had very supportive like friends and coworkers who would just hang out after work and we'd just go through whatever I needed to get through. But once you've played like maybe 5 or 6 different games, you're kind of like, I need to start writing this up because it's kind of all junking up my brain. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I've got thoughts on it. I've got like gameplay rules in my head, and like at a certain point, getting the reason why rules explanations, especially on written content, are so in terms of popularity, just from what I've been reading about on the internet. And the reason why I put them in mind is often because I tend to go back to them and read my own rules explanation if I'm playing the game later. So like, I was trying to teach Near and Far, and Near and Far, great game. I love Near and Far.
Yeah.
Has like a 40-page rule book.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's chunkster, which is
that
fine.
Is that the spiral bound one or no?
No, that's I think the spiral bound one's the Atlas. It's got like the maps that you can play on. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So, but like, I was trying to teach this to a group of like 4 people, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I don't remember how to play the game. And I'm like, wait a minute, I already wrote this review. So I just read my own rules explanation. Was like, I remember enough of this to get by. Taught them the game. They loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So not only is it for the public consumption, it's also for your own, as a reminder of, hey, I need to teach myself this game again. Yeah,
it's actually super helpful because it's already written the way that I would talk. So I'm just like, okay, it's just me to me.
That's awesome. Friends, thank you again for joining us. I'm here with Eric, and we were talking about all his journey into board gaming. We have a lot of people in chat today. Really appreciate you guys hanging out, spending part of your day with us here today. Eric, is there anything else we need to you would like to share before we move on to the second half of our show?
I mean, the journey continues, right? So like lately we've been seeing a bunch of cool stuff popping up. Like, I mean, I'm really still excited for the thing that we're both doing, the American Tabletop Awards, and I think that's been the like latest real step in our board gaming journey. It's been a lot of fun to do that. So, I mean, I've already got some opinions, but we'll save that for an entirely different conversation.
Fair enough. Yes, and I want to thank you for giving me that opportunity to be part of the American Tabletop Awards, because it's it is important, and it is what I just love. Like, we have a Slack for it, and I love the interaction that we have on a weekly basis. And again, this is a little more active before the pandemic, but we had that whole, hey, what have you played this week? And we get it. We talk about all these games, and it's we get into it. I mean, not like fighting wise, but I mean, people really are passionate about the games that they enjoy and maybe not enjoy as much as well.
Oh yeah, I am already aware that there's going to be some like 2021 intense discussions.
Yes.
No spoilers, of course.
Yeah, no spoilers. Right? I feel like we can sort of spoil one, because he talked about it the other day. The Search for Planet X.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I
know you love it. Yes, and I've played it twice solo, and I'm enjoying it. And I think I'm not quite at love yet, but I think I'm inching towards it. We'll see.
Yeah, so the problem is my normal threat for this sort of thing is I will come to your house, but I cannot do that now. So I'm very I'm very muted in my like, oh, you better like the game that I like rage. Where I'm like, well, I hope that you come to see it in the same light that I do, and that's about the best I can do.
Right. I love it. That's great.
It's a very muted, polite rage. It's just like,
I like that. A muted, polite rage. That's like Blood Rage, the family game.
My little blood rage.
My little blood rage. There you go. Okay, so let's move on. Let's we talked about this a little beforehand, but we're going to talk about our top 3 deck building games. Okay, so Eric, as the guest, you will lead it off, my friend. What is your number 3 on your list?
All right. Well, I mean, I feel like we can't talk about deck building unless we talk a little bit about Dominion, right?
Yes.
Like, at the core of it, like, Dominion was pretty much my first deck builder, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And then I got way too into expansions. And I still am way too into expansions. And I'm just like, they keep releasing more, and I'm just kind of on the train of like, I have Nocturne. I haven't played Nocturne yet. Mm-hmm. I would very much like to play Renaissance.
And which one's Renaissance again? I forget.
Renaissance is the next. It's the next one after Nocturne. I feel like Menagerie was also one they announced.
Yeah. Oh wow, I'm way behind.
I'm hyped. Like, at some point, I'm just going to be like, yes, 3 more Dominion expansions that I have not looked at all. Like, it's got peaks and troughs. Yeah. Everyone who's played Dominion has a favorite expansion, except for Alchemy, I guess.
I think that's the one. Yeah, that's the one we've all universally agreed to just hate on, because
it makes the game so much slower. It's not its fault. They were just like action focused. And I'm like, that's cool. But then Golem, I think, is like, you like look through your deck until you find one specific card. And like, I had a friend who I love, great guy. And I can tell you that it did hurt me to always turn off the action splitter +2 action on the Random Minion app. And then he'd be like, why do we never get any +2 actions? And I'm like, I don't know. The games just took a long time.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, right.
But just that plus Golem made the games take forever.
Yeah.
Empires, though.
Empires was fantastic.
Yeah, Empires was great.
Empires
I was like, wow, this revitalized the whole thing for me.
Totally, yeah. And I think that's probably one of the last times I played Dominion was with Empires, and that I really enjoyed that.
Oh, yeah. I have a soft spot for Adventures just because I really like the champion. I like that entire card progression arc where you can play a card, it gets removed, you add the next level to your discard pile, and you slowly level up a character. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's fun. So is that your number 3, or are we just
number 3? Yeah,
that is number 3. Oh, okay, look, I made like a little banner here. If I can find it. Yay, number 3 for Eric. Yeah.
I have simple tastes.
Yeah. No, Dominion was actually, and we'll get to our honorable mentions in a minute. So, I mean, spoiler alert, that was on my list. It was I couldn't decide if I wanted there, but I did this is going to be a controversial pick, I think. My number 3 is Abandoned All Artichokes. I love this game, and
that's not controversial.
No, I feel like people are going to give me a little crap for having super light. I don't know. Anyway, it's a fantastic game. You played it. Yeah. I love it. I think it's great. Yeah, it just takes everything I love about deck building and just totally streamlines it, takes out a bunch of stuff, and it's so easy to teach. And I got it in the table within like 5 minutes, and it's just, I don't know, it's smooth. I love the fact you take a card and then you're going to play cards. That's it. You're not worrying. You're not counting currency. You're not counting combat, all that stuff. And the art, I mean, come on, the art is super cute.
Oh yeah, I've been what's the word I'm looking for? Commenting at Emma with just other suggestions for future expansion titles. Right. Like Yeet Your Yams, I think is the most popular one.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Evict Every Eggplant.
Oh, that's great.
Or Evacuate Every Eggplant. There's like we got a lot of synergy. Throw those turnips.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be expansion mania.
Just a lot of letters in the English language.
Yes, and didn't she? I remember I talked to her about how she designed the game. She started with like a bunch of stuff that was alliteration, like A for apple or whatever, and then she ended up with Abandon All Artichokes. And someone she had tweeted it out, and someone said, "I would buy that game," before she even thought of a game. She just had the title, and then she decided to, "Hey, I'm gonna create a game."
It's a great name.
Yeah, right?
No, I think it's also a great fit for Gamewright, just personally, in terms of just I mean, Gamewright tends to go for things that have like nice, bright, colorful boxes, and they tend to be fairly simple, accessible gameplay. So that's Sushi Roll, or Metro X surprised me because I find Metro X to be a little bit complicated, but it does fit within the bright colors, simple gameplay, although it is hard strategically. And Quicks,
Quingo, and they have a third one. That other
Blooms?
One, yeah, I haven't played that one yet.
I haven't either.
Yeah, but I love Quicks and I love Quingo.
That's one of those nice times that you when you see a game being released with a certain publisher. You're like, no, that's a good synergy there.
Yep. Yeah.
Quingo, cool. I also really enjoy, although it's very similar. Quinto is Pandasaurus.
That's the one I'm mixing up. Yeah.
Quingo is you say a number from 1 to 100, you roll a category die, and you have to put it in one of the 5 columns.
Right. Okay.
That said, there's a lot of Q, W, I, and star. There's at least 2 of them, which is many.
Yeah, and I get them all confused in my head. Yes, Quinto. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle Rich there. Yeah. Gaming rules. Good night. Thank you.
Night.
And let's move on. Eric, your number 2, please.
All right. So the number 2 is I think it's. I mean, I don't think it's a controversial pick, but I never hear anything about it, and so I'm always a little bit disappointed. No, so I picked the Legend of Korra Pro Bending Arena.
Yes.
From IDW. It's deck buildy area. I always call it an area threat game rather than area control. So you play as 3 characters from the Legend of Korra series who are fighting with their masteries of fire, water, or earth. And so on your turn, you'll try to attack into another player's spaces. And on their turn, they either need to move out of those spaces or cancel out your attacks. Otherwise, they'll be pushed back. So you can win by basically pushing your opponents off of the edge of the stage. So the stage is suspended above water is how the in-universe version of it goes. And if you can knock a player off of the stage into the water, they're out of the game. And so it's a lot of fun. The actual deck building comes in with essentially every turn you gain some, I think it's energy of some kind. You can spend energy on additional techniques that you can shuffle into your deck.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, this is one I know this game, but I've never played it. But it seems like it's one of those, I don't know if it just flew under the radar, but everyone that I've talked to about the game, they love it like you do. But I don't know why it just didn't grab hold of a more general audience.
Yeah, I think it's the problem with licensed titles is that everyone has that one that thing where they're like, oh, it's a licensed title, so it's probably not good. Which, to be fair, has been borne out by many things, Superman 64 being among them. But there are many good licensed things.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And I mean, they're slowly but surely getting better as well.
Yeah. Again,
you know?
Scooby-Doo, Betrayal
Scooby Doo.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is where the op has also done a lot of good work, just like upping their game in terms of like licensed titles. I'm seeing some good stuff coming out of them. I have Kingdom Hearts Talisman on the shelf, and I've been meaning to play that for forever, and it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's see. So that was number 2. Fooling around with these things here. Where's my banner? My number 2. Thank you, Eric. My number 2. This is an older title called Trains from AEG. This is one of the games that Michelle and I, my wife and I, played the heck out of a couple of years ago, and we ended up. I ended up getting the expansion. The expansion definitely breathed new life into it, but. Trains is basically Ticket to Ride meets Dominion mashed up in one. You're making little routes on the board, and you're playing deck building cards to, you're building your deck to, gain money, build more stuff, and you connect cities, get points, and then you go and the whole map's filled up. I really enjoy it. I don't know if you played it, Eric.
No, I have not, but it sounds up my alley. I do love a good route building game.
Yeah, and this is what it is. Like, I would definitely recommend it. If you played the heck out of Dominion, I would recommend getting Trains Rising Sun, because that's the expansion. It has a few more cards included that are different, because if you get the Trains base game, you're going to look at stuff like, oh, that's exactly what this card is in Dominion. Like, it's almost literally just a ripoff, but yeah, but it's fun. What is it? Yeah, it's great. I think I don't know why AEG didn't push it more, because they could have totally done the Dominion thing, like released, expansion after expansion, but I guess it just wasn't meant to be, or maybe they didn't sell enough or whatever.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah. I think I have a sentimental attachment to it, actually, because Michelle and I, our daughter Lauren, was actually studying in Japan at the time when we got the game, and the game, it's based in Japan. So it's like, you're traveling from, throughout Tokyo, and then you go to Kyoto and blah, blah, blah. And so we're like, oh, here's where Lauren would be, right here on this part of the train. So
that's cute.
Total sentimental. Yeah. Shinjuku there. Oh, hey, that's my wife right there. Shinjuku. That's how we would say it. So. Thanks, babe. So that's my number 2, Trains. Before we get to number 1. First, Eric, so you haven't played Trains, correct?
No.
Okay. Before we get to number 1, how about some honorable mentions?
Okay, so I got my honorable mention. I really struggled because I was like trying to decide if I wanted this to be number 3 or not, but I got to throw one up for the Dale of Merchants series.
Yes.
Like, good racing deck builder. Like, I think it might be that part of the thing is I don't love random markets in games that often, like especially in deck builders. I tend to like fixed markets, which is weird given that my number 1 is kind of a random market. I'm not terribly consistent. But no, I have a lot of, like, I think that just the art is very good. I liked the gameplay a lot, and there's just a bunch of content for it, right? Because there's Dale Merchants 1, 2, the collection, and then Dale Merchants 3 just finished up on Kickstarter.
Right. Was that delivered already, or no?
No, Dale Merchants 3, I think, just finished its Kickstarter maybe
a couple
weeks ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, honorable mentions now. Do you want to go to your number 1?
Sure. Give me a second. My computer seems to be... Oh, there it goes. It was beach balling for a second. No, it still is, actually. Well, I don't need to see it, so... As long as you can still hear me, it's fine. Right. But my number 1 is fun for me because I think I've cultivated a mild reputation of not really being into games that are that heavy in any way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which... it's because I play a lot of games. It's not that I dislike heavy games. I play a lot.
Yeah.
But that's here nor there. But no, my number 1 is it's gonna be 99's Millennium.
Ah. Oh, Eric.
I love Millennium Blades. I think it's great.
Cool. You're cutting out on me just a little bit. I think
still got me?
Yep, you're good. Cool. Yeah. Millennium Blades. I have not.
Okay, cool.
I've seen this one. I've always wanted to play it, but I never have. But I know it's heavier. And what do you love about it?
It is everything. I love that at its core, Millennium Blades has no business working. Like, if you pitch me the concept, right? I'm like, okay, we're gonna take a CCG. And you're like, sure. I'm like, but we're gonna simulate it. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, we're gonna have you get a deck, have money, build the deck, go to tournaments, play each other in tournaments, trade cards, fuse cards, and then come back for more tournaments with promotional prizes. But also, eventually, you're gonna go pro and get your own special cards. I'd be like, that's too many things.
Yeah.
That shouldn't, but it does. It somehow works. It's got like so many different modular like sets that you can push in, and they're all jokes about something, right? So like one of them's a Sailor Moon XP, or one's like a JRPGs focused one, or one is just garden gnomes for no real discernible reason. I guess gnome real discernible reason.
No, can we just end the podcast, or can we just end this? That's it.
Sorry, it's a pun stream now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but no, it's very good. It's just like, I think that for me, what I really like about the game is that the game does a great job of executing on its theme, and its theme is very rich, and it's borne out through all of the game's components. Like everything in the game is aligned very strongly to its theme.
Nice. Awesome.
And so that just creates such a great experience, although it is hectic and it is intense. But I really do like it. It's who doesn't love the idea of a real-time deck building component?
Yeah. And it's funny you say intense, and I when you said intense, I think of the times I've seen it at tables, and I just see people playing, and they're like so focused and like seeing like beads of sweat, and like I'm like, wow, I want to try this game.
It's a tough 2 hours, but like, I think that it's their commitment to the bit, right? Like when you first open it, they have a bunch of packs of paper money that you have to wrap individually, so that you have stacks of money as the currency. And there's something very satisfying about throwing a stack of money at another player and being like, I would like the card.
Nice.
That's very good. Although I will say the market is not fixed. It is a random market.
Okay.
But even that is more on theme, because you're going to stores and buying booster packs to improve your deck.
I was just going to ask if that's part of the theme there, the whole booster pack thing.
Yeah,
there it is. Nice.
They basically distilled all the booster packs down to rare or better cards.
Okay.
So you just draw one card, and that's your booster pack, and it's a rare or better. All of the common and uncommon cards you would keep in your deck for a normal like CCG have been condensed into one card that's your deck box. Yeah. So that's how they've abstracted it. I think it's really great.
Yeah. That's again probably like one of those, like, I don't know, one of the top games that I've really been wanting to play over the years and just haven't gotten to play it. So
you got it.
One of these days.
Lot of fun.
One of these days.
I think once the Collusion expansion comes out, I'm probably going to be like actively looking for more games.
I love that that's the thing, a Collusion expansion. That's great.
If they say it's the last one, and that breaks my heart. So I'm hoping they're lying.
Okay.
That's my goal. Is that at some point they're going to be like, we lied to you. Here's another expansion.
Yes. Awesome. So let's so my number one, first honorable mentions, Dominion. You talked about that. That was my introduction to deck building as well, was Dominion. Another one that I really like, and I know you don't like random markets, but Shards of Infinity. Which is,
I do like Shards of Infinity.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that one, I thought it took like Ascension and just like slimmed it down to a very playable 20-25 minute game, super quick. And then my other, what was
the
my
app
other?
Is also really good.
Yeah, the app is excellent.
That's actually how I learned the game, and I normally cannot learn games from apps. It's something about the old brain box.
Yeah,
but I'm like, no, this is actually really intuitive.
Yeah, it is. Excellent game. So Shards, Dominion. What was my other one? I thought I had another. Well, whatever.
I did play one that I didn't love the actual gameplay, but I was playing a like 18 card deck builder concept.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was one of like the wallet games.
From Button Shy?
No, it was from Concrete Canoe. I think it was called Cards of Olympus.
Okay.
So Beth did the art for it, and it was great.
Yeah.
And I have a soft spot for Greek mythology themes. It's just like my little like weird nerd thing. But yeah, it was a really interesting concept to see people like pushing the deck building like frontiers, right? Because when someone's like, oh, an 18 card deck builder, you're like, that doesn't work.
Right.
And it actually, like, structurally, from how the game played, I thought it actually played okay structurally. It had other things that I didn't love. I felt like it was a little bit too easy to win, but that's not here nor there.
It was strictly a solo game then.
No, it's 2 players.
Oh no,
yeah,
18 cards, really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Each of the cards was double-sided and had a split between one half and the other half, so you could have 4 potential cards.
Right.
That's a good set as well. I have not played Aeon's End in a while, and I kind of need to get back on it.
That's one thing I have not played. Aeon's End. That's another one that I haven't played.
I haven't played Clank either.
Oh no! Wow. Okay, so Aeon's End. Have you played the Legacy Aeon's End?
So that is currently sitting in my office.
Okay.
Which is sealed.
Oh,
so
gosh.
No, I have not.
Okay.
Oh, Marvel Legendary.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. Marvel Legendary. I'm so close to my dream. I wish they would push out a Superior Spider-Man expansion so that way I could play as every Spider-Man fighting Spider-Man.
That would be awesome.
I just want to play an only Spider-Man game.
That would be great. Yes, that's my buddy Marlon. Marlon, hi. Thanks for joining us. I actually played Blood Rage earlier with Marlon on his channel. So
nice.
Thanks, Marlon. The other honorable mention I had was Tyrants of the Underdark.
Oh yeah.
Have you played that one?
No.
That one. Something. You know what it is?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's like I always feel like not enough people know about how great this game is. It's deck building meets area control in the D&D world, and I realized after I played that game that I love deck building as a mechanism, but I really love deck building with a board, basically some kind of board where you can move stuff. And
have you played Edge of Darkness?
Yes, I have played Edge of Darkness. Yes,
that thing's a monster to set up.
It is. It's oh my gosh, the card crafting one, right, John Clare?
Yeah, I was at BGG Con. I can't remember off the top of my head who I guilted into playing it, but I finally accomplished my board game dream, which was I was holding this like 12-pound box. I slammed it on the table in the middle of their game, and I'm like, "What up, nerds? We're playing this next." It like knocked over some stuff. It was very rude of me. Not too much. It was recoverable, but I didn't throw it on the board. But
that box is that's a dangerous box. Yeah. Oh, Michelle Ridge, thank you so much for saying that. I got to put that on. That's really really kind of you. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah. My number one. So speaking of deck building with a board is Clank Legacy. And you have not played any Clanks yet, correct?
No, I have never clanked in my life.
Yeah, I hope you that changes for you.
Almost clanking, I think, is the problem. Like I'm always like really close to it, and then it just doesn't happen for me.
Yeah, it's Clank. I mean, the base game Clank is good. I felt like Clank in Space was better, but then Clank Legacy just took it to a whole new level. The storytelling in it's fantastic, and just the added mechanisms, I loved it. So. Yeah,
I think what happened was it was like right as Clank and Aeon's End were both doing their thing at the same time, and I said, "Oh, I can't commit to both of these things. I need to commit hard to one." And so I picked Aeon's End, and then everyone was like, Clank," and I'm like, Aeon's End is fun.
Yeah, and I want to get in on the Aeon's End train as well. But yeah, I've definitely I love Clank. And
I think what ends up happening is a lot of my friends don't love deck builders because the setup component is just a lot compared to other games. Yeah, they tend to make. I think that this is like we could have this argument all day, but like there's like a lot of deck builders make really good apps because you don't have to shuffle as much.
Yeah, that's true. It takes out. Yeah,
and after Pandemic Legacy, my friends don't trust me to shuffle anymore.
Did you shuffle yourself in the end over there?
I pulled probably the worst cards every session. Like we'd just be shuffling the deck and I'd be like, all right, turn 1, Epidemic. Cool. And I actually lost my shuffling privileges halfway through season 1.
Oh, okay, that's bad.
I was revoked. So they were like, no, you are not allowed to shuffle the deck anymore. It was really bad. Like for some reason, the way that I overhand shuffle in like coup, I think. Meant that if you gave me a card and I shuffled it into the deck, the odds of you getting the exact same card back were about 50%. And because we had the coup set where every card was a unique character, and so you could actually tell. And I'm like, oh, that's not great. I need to figure that out. I like bridge shuffle mounts.
Yeah, that's funny. Yes. So don't let Eric shuffle your cards, folks.
That's what I'm learning.
Friends, thank you for joining us. We have talked about the top 3 deck builder games that Eric and I enjoy. Eric, before we get going, anything else we need to talk about before we get going here, or any you want to talk about what you're up to in the board gaming world?
I was gonna say, like, currently, like, yeah, I'm just gonna pop back on my couch and play Animal Crossing. I can't leave the house, but no, I got tons going on.
Yeah. Where can people find you on the internet, Eric, if they don't know?
Same place they can find me in real life. In my house. I'm taking the can't leave thing really well.
I love it.
No, so online, you can find me at What's Eric Playing. So that's www.what'sericplaying.com. Just kind of trailing across the bottom here. Oh, it's going this way. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So I know my left and my right. On Twitter, I'm What's E Playing, because What's Eric Playing is unfortunately 16 characters, and I figured that one out a little bit too late. But everywhere else, it's What's Eric Playing, including, as Michelle's pointing out, Patreon, if you're interested in throwing money in that direction.
And please do, folks. Please do. Eric,
thank you.
Yeah, it's such amazing work. Eric, I want to thank you again for hanging out with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always a good time.
Always, man. And I can't wait till the next time we can actually hang out.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah. So, all right. Friends, thank you again. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining.